Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm reviewing a pen. It is from Sailor, but it is not one of their like Pro Gears or anything like that. This is the Tuzu, which is one of their latest offerings in a very budget friendly category, especially for them. So I'm going to talk about the parts and features of the Tuzu fountain pen, do a writing sample and all that kind of stuff. And there is an interesting element to this pen that I'll come to in a second. So this is how it comes packaged. It's cute, it's nice. It says treasure for writing pleasure, Tuzu. Express yourself effortlessly and endlessly. It's nice, it's very simple, it's clean. I like it. And this is the pen. Now I got the grey version and there are other versions called the grey steel, and there are a number of them. And the Sailor Tuzu is what they call their Tuzu Adjust. So it's an adjustable fountain pen, and that element I will come to, but let's talk about some parts and features. On the top, it's got this plain plastic top with a little circle in it. The clip is a metal clip with a plastic sort of sheath over it, which is interesting. I don't know if I love it or don't like it. I'm not entirely sure. The pen is sort of is round. There's no facets or anything, and it swells slightly to that sort of center band area, and then tapers down towards another flat end with another circle in the end. It's a good way of keeping the design balance when you have to have like an aeration hole in the bottom of a pen, because there's pens that are designed for children need, if you swallow part of it, you have to have a hole so you can breathe through it or something, apparently. So this is it's a nice way of keeping that design. It is a snap cap, and the snap is secure and it's it's nice and tight. Remove the cap and you get a little where the cap clicks, and then you get a metal band, and then you get this triangular gripped section, and then a big sort of drop, and then this I'm going to call it a Lamy style nib, but it is not a Lamy nib. Here's a Lamy Safari nib, and you can see they are mildly different. It's Lamy style, shall we say, and that's okay. There are a number of brands who do similar kinds of things. Little plastic feet. This is a steel nib. It's got the Sailor logo on it there. It is a cartridge converter pen, and it uses Sailor's proprietary cartridges and converters, and both were provided. I put the cartridge in here. Once I've written this one dry, I will be refilling it. I don't like Sailor converters, and so I find the cartridges to be a much better option. They have good ink capacity and all that kind of stuff. Now, on the surface, I should say the section is in a different color. The section matches the gray of the clip, which is different to the gray of the body. So that is the basics of this pen. Now, this is called the Adjust, and that is for one particular element. And this is sort of, I suppose you could say, the gimmick of the pen. And there is this metal ring unscrews, and you get it past a certain point, and you can see here the section moves off, and you can adjust the placement onto a series of posts that you can see there, how the triangular grip section sits. So if you always turn the pen slightly to the right, and I know I do that, so I have it set off to the right, it keeps the placement of the nib level on the paper, so no need for an oblique nib. Now Sailor are saying this is like a first, and that no other brand has done anything like this, and yeah, sure, no other brand has that I can think of has as easily an adjustable section, but there are many pens that have a triangular grip section where you can turn the nib. So it's the first one with an adjustable section, but not the first pen that you can that isn't adjustable to this if you wanted to. Just putting that out there, but this is an interesting way of doing it, and it's a nice little gimmick or selling point that makes this pen unique. Size comparison here with the Lamy Safari. You see it's shorter than the Safari when it is capped. You can see it's shorter again when it is uncapped, but posted it actually comes out slightly longer there than the Lamy Safari. I don't have a preferred way of using this pen, either posted or unposted. I find both sort of as comfortable as each other. It's not a heavy pen, so it's okay either way. I generally, if I'm using this for quick writing, I won't bother posting it. It's big enough for me to use. But if you have particularly big hands, this may not be for you. I would suggest in a lot of ways, this is a pen aimed at a younger market, given the price point and the materials and all those kinds of things. And the fact that it's adjustable, you know, to a hand grip. But I think, yeah, it's a big enough pen to use in my hand. So let's talk about the dimensions of the Sailor Tuzu fountain pen. It's 136 millimeters when it is capped. It's 123 when it's uncapped. So yes, we are getting to the smaller end of usable. It's 170 when it is posted. So yeah, nice and long, but the balance is okay because, you know, the pen doesn't weigh that much in the first place. Around the section is about 11 millimeters, and around the middle of the cap is 15 millimeters. So it's got a good girth to it, this pen. It's not a small pen in your hand. The entire pen weighs 19 grams, 12.5 in the body and 6.5 in the cap. So however you use it, it's a comfortable pen. Time for the writing sample now. And I've got my Clairefontaine 90 GSM paper here, but let's just have another quick look at that adjustable design. So you remove that ring down, as you see, and then this you can turn, and you can see those little notches in there, and you can then work out, when I say triangular, there's actually two facets on the top, and the bottom is rounded, and so finding a place that works for you. I think there are 10 spots it can go onto. Like I find mine just a little off to the right ends up keeping the nib just a little flatter on the page given how I write, and that's how I'm going to be showing it. So let's do some writing. We have the Sailor. Oh, hard start there. Sailor Tuzu fountain pen. This has the medium nib. It's available in fine, medium and broad. And the ink in this today is Sailor Black from that cartridge. And Sailor Black is a very nice solid black ink. I enjoy it a lot. Let's do some writing. Oh, terrible. So we had a hard start at the beginning. Yes, the pen was uncapped for a while and I've been showing it, and it gives the ink a chance to dry out, but I have noticed occasionally little sort of hard starts like that are, if it's been, you know, a little while since I used it. But once it's writing, it writes very nicely. It writes relatively smoothly. It writes well. You know, like when it's going, it's a beautiful writer. Quick writing. No real issues. I think the downstrokes are more consistent than the cross strokes in terms of faster writing, reverse writing. It's very smooth. It's a little drier, but you can definitely do it. Flex. Oh no, you can. I don't know if you would have heard that little click on the plastic. Don't want to push this too hard. It's very, very stiff nib. But like in terms of wetness, it's okay. You know, it's a perfectly decent sort of writer. Is it a pen that gets me excited to write? No, not really. Is it a pen that I will be turning to again and again? Probably not. But I think there are a number of interesting things about it to discuss. All right, let's talk about some pros and cons. Firstly, elephant in the room, the section is a bit of a gimmick, and that's totally fine. You know, like I'm not going to hold it against Sailor for doing something like this. It's an interesting little gimmick, and some people may find it useful. Others will find it just to be there. I find it just to be there. I also think the design is a bit weird. Like, I don't love the look. And yes, I've gone for a very simple plain grey version of the pen, and some of the colours might be a bit more interesting. But there's something about the proportions, either the length of the cap or, you know, sort of like, I don't know, it kind of feels just a bit off. Like, to me, it's not a particularly attractive pen. I don't find that clip design to be overly attractive. I find it to be a bit plain and a bit like, yeah, it doesn't make me want to use it with these like big dips and yeah, it's just design-wise, it's not for me. It's also got a very lightweight plastic, and I'd be interested to see over time how that plastic holds up, seeing as though it's designed as a, potentially a pen for younger people. Is it going to cope with the demands that puts on it? Who knows? Another thing I find a bit strange is when I'm writing with it, for some reason, the way the pen is built, it feels like the nib isn't, like it kind of has a feeling like the nib is slanted up off the pen body. And I know it doesn't necessarily look that way, but when I'm writing with it, I kind of feel like the nib should be sort of more on a downward angle or something, just to be a little less, I don't know, it just feels off. And that's what a lot of my issues with this pen are, is that things just don't feel quite right. It's not that they're bad, they just don't feel quite right. And it's a weird sensation to have when using a pen. But there are some pros. Firstly, I think the nib writes well. As I said, some little hard start, so maybe there's a bit of a drying out situation, but it writes well. I think the pen has a nice girth. It feels good in the hand in that way. It's a nice width section, even with those facets and all those kinds of things. It's nice. And one thing I really like about the pen is the lowish price point. And when I say low-ish, it retails for £35, or you can get it in Australia for around the $70-ish mark, a couple of dollars more mostly. It's not an inexpensive pen for what you get. When you think of pens like Lamy Safari, which, has a similar nib and a bigger range of nibs and a bigger range of colors and a sort of like, once again, perhaps slightly controversial but iconic design. Even if you buy the converter on top of the price of the pen, it's still cheaper than the Sailor Tuzu. So I think this is a lowish price point. For Sailor, it's an exceptionally low price point. Like, there are sort of things like the Sailor Compass and those kinds of pens. It fits in that sort of category. It's definitely not one of the higher end Sailors. And so I like it for that reason, because I enjoy showing pens at affordable price points, because not everyone wants to spend $500-600 on a fountain pen. Some people do want to get a pen for $70, and they want to get a good pen for $70, and I want to show the information about what's on the market there. So that's an interesting thing. But yeah, for me, the biggest problems with the Sailor Tuzu are that it just feels off. It's not that things are bad necessarily, they just don't feel off, and they will feel great to some people. People will love this pen, I know they will. For me, it just doesn't do it for me. So I hope you found this video about the Sailor Tuzu interesting and useful. Please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button. It all helps the algorithm and helps me continue to make videos for you. Speaking of which, if you would like to support the channel, I would really love to hear from you. If you want to provide products, or if you've got things you think I should be looking at, all that kind of stuff, please get in touch. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.